Today we are having Rock from Rethink Protocol, a peer-to-peer contract asset management system that facilitates the creation and management of on-chain investment vehicles on the EVM networks. To be honest, Rock, it sounds very solid, very respectable, and very scary to me when I'm reading this description, to be honest. So, yes, I think maybe for some people too. So I wanted to start with digging into maybe some more details about the project. And I will be asking you maybe three questions in one at once. So, what is Rethink Protocol? And its unique feature is what sets you apart, maybe from some other asset management systems on the Ethereum blockchain, and what are maybe the key benefits of OIVs, on-chain investment vehicles, for asset management compared to traditional methods. Maybe it's too much for the first question, but anyway, can you, yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
I will start with the first one. So Rethink is really asset management solution that scales. We wanted to build it in trust minimized way. And the reason why we wanted to solve this problem was because, for example, in 2022 alone, there was over 20 billion lost because of this classical principal agent problem where fund managers are taking excessive risk and then losing investors' money. So we wanted to solve that problem. And in TradFi, you actually have a bunch of intermediaries. So, for example, you have brokers, administrators, custodians, auditors that are all working with asset managers. And you need to trust all those people that they're acting in the best interest of investors. And we have regulators enforcing this so that everyone is playing by the rules. But rules are often broken, and we're thinking that we can probably also remove a lot of those actors, make everything a bit more transparent, easier to operate, and also cost efficient. So Rethink is basically removing all those trust assumptions. So even the manager doesn't need to be fully trusted, because the manager can only do the things that investors have defined for them. So that's a simple explanation of what Rethink does and how's it different than traditional finance. But if we look at the competitive landscape, I think we are not the first who wanted to tackle this. So the pioneers in the space are Enzyme and DHedge, and we absolutely love what they have achieved. But trying out their products, we realized that they're not the best fit for the use cases that we had in mind, simply because they don't really scale. They have Oracle dependencies, so they're only able to support assets that have oracles. They need to integrate a DeFi protocols one by one, and it takes over 2 months to do it. So they managed to integrate, I think, like 22 protocols on mainnet for Enzyme, which is definitely not enough. If you want to be on top of the asset management game, you need to be able to do that faster, and you need to be across all networks. So Rethink is really a scalable asset management solution that supports all token standards, all DeFi protocols on all EVM networks. I hope that answers the first couple of questions.
Yeah, that's absolutely simple and understandable. For example, for me as a non-tech person, thank you very much for these explanations. For now, I really understand it better. And my next question, I think, will be naturally: is your solution meant for institutional or retail investors more? Because, for example, you are talking on reducing operational costs. And it means you are delegating some functions not to for example, team members, but to the automated system functions. But simultaneously, you are talking that there is an opportunity to deploy the assets of, for example, my friends and family. That's why I wanted to ask you. So, is your solution more for private individuals or institutional investors? That's the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually both. We are at the moment focusing a bit more on institutional use cases, simply because the pain points there are a bit higher, and we are eventually trying to make the user experience simple enough that even individuals can start managing their friends and family assets without major trust assumptions. So we aim to do both, but we're mostly focusing on institutional use cases right now.
Yeah, it's completely understandable, I think. But anyway, it can be really as well interesting for private people. So we are waiting until you will be more developed and will offer more interesting opportunities. Concerning the on-chain investment vehicles, how do they manage flexible deposits and redemptions while maintaining the non-custodial approach?
Mhm. Yes. So one of the trade-offs that allow us to be extremely scalable and support every protocol, every asset on every EVM chain is that the deposits and redemptions are by default at least not automated. So there is a deposit and redemption cycles, and investors need to request a deposit or a redemption. And then the job of the manager is to make sure that there is enough liquidity in the fund contract to sell deposit and redemption requests at the end of the cycle. So this is on a high level how it works. Of course, the job of manager can be fully automated by a script. And one additional beauty of Rethink is that those scripts can even be run off chain, or they don't introduce any additional security concerns, and they don't even need to be audited because the script won't be able to execute anything outside of the scope of permissions. So even if we do the scripts, we're still way faster than Ansem and DHedge, but we still need to invest some development time. But if we don't invest any development time, we can still handle any position basically.
It sounds like a future.
That's good.
Yes, yeah, it's really great, and it's highly technical, and it's absolutely innovative to my mind. But okay, can you explain the types of positions that OIVs support and how they handle illiquid assets, NFTs, and DeFi positions, maybe in simple words as
Mhm.
well?
Sure. So our OIVs internally, we actually kind of categorize positions in liquid, illiquid positions, NFTs, so non-fungible and composable DeFi positions. And technically, we can support any position type. And there's two requirements for us in order to support a position. So one, we need to generate permissions for managers to be able to interact with those assets. And it's basically very similar to a whitelist of contracts that we want managers to interact with, but we can go deeper in those contracts and even permission specific functions on those contracts to make it, for example, extremely secure, or to define additional conditions on how we want the managers to interact with those contracts. And then we also need to understand how are we going to value those positions. So we can, because we need to be able to know how we're valuing positions, so we can issue and redeem tokens at the right price when investors are entering and exiting on-chain investment vehicles. And we usually also find this information on-chain for any position type. So we're also very flexible there.
Understood. And you have just mentioned the managers, and
Mhm.
maybe you will let me jump to the questions about the uh, which permissions are actually delegated to the managers, and how do they function within the protocol, and maybe then we'll a little bit touch the governance.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So usually the permissions that are delegated to managers are defined in the onboarding process. So at the moment we are still onboarding managers, like one by one, and we collect the requirements and generate permissions. But we're working hard on removing ourselves from this process and allowing anyone to just connect the wallet, define the assets and protocols and actions they want to do, and kind of launch their own on-chain investment vehicle. So yeah, technically anything that they want to do within DeFi, they can just select and basically deploy the right permissions for being able to interact with that.
Maybe it's a little bit stupid question from my side, but those managers, are those actually humans, or this is some robotic feature?
They can be humans, and
Mhm.
they can be humans, and then in the case of human, they are actually executing transactions by connecting to existing front ends. So we kind of made it simple by working with Gnosis Guild and using their Zodiac Pilot, so they can connect to, for example, Uniswap interface with Zodiac Pilot, and on behalf of the custody contract, because they don't have access to funds directly, they can, through their individual account, execute transaction if they have permission. But we can also delegate this to a script, for example, and
Yeah.
the script can be even also like a contract, it's possible, or it can be an off-chain script that can do like the manager job. Or technically it can even be an AI agent. So there's a lot of talk about that, especially like Ola's team is working hard on this. So yeah, we can definitely support an AI agent to act in the best interest of its investors as well. And it can act within the scope of permissions, again, that we have defined for them.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask you as well about the AI, but I just want to say that this solution, when you have some automated scripts and AI, this really makes the solution, I think, more efficient and more efficient for clients from the financial point of view. So that's really great. And let's then jump maybe really to AI agent, just to discuss, what I wanted to know. For example, you have already answered a little bit how can an investor benefit from AI agent when it comes to data-driven strategies, complex strategies. Maybe you can add a few words as well. And yeah, my question will be one more question will be: do your clients actually like and trust it? What is the feedback of clients? That's very interesting for me.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, we haven't integrated yet AI agent that would be live. But we are actively looking for a manager that, or like a strategist that would be interested in deploying one. And yeah, there is investor interest for this kind of thing, so we're more than happy to facilitate introductions. But we have just presented this as one of the possibilities on top of Rethink platform, because essentially what Rethink does is any way of managing assets for yourself, we provide an environment in which you can do this for others without them needing to trust you. That would be like the simplest way to explain it. And AI is just like one hot topic that we support as well. We don't really build AI agents ourselves, or we don't deal with the parameters. We allow them to do that themselves, and then they come to us and we create environment in which they can start accepting capital from third parties without third parties needing to trust them.
Yeah, for now, yeah, I begin to understand it. Yes. Okay, so you're just, yeah, providing an opportunity. But anyway, this is a step forward. And I'm always very keen on solutions that are somehow combining Web3 and artificial intelligence. And I think that this is the future. And yeah, that's why I wanted to emphasize that this is very innovative and very cool feature. Yeah, the question about the governance. So, how does on-chain governance work with the Rethink protocol? And yeah, here is
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
like you have mentioned about the manager role. Maybe there are some other roles, and OIVs. Maybe there is something more to tell us.
Yes. So there's actually different levels of governance. So we have a Rethink Protocol level governance that controls protocol upgrades and fee switch and, for example, treasury. This is not live yet, but it's ready to be live as soon as we launch a token. And then we have individual on-chain investment vehicle OIV level governance, and we are actually built very modular. So we're governance framework agnostic, and our users can choose themselves what the governance frameworks they want to support. For example, we support out of the box open Zeppelin governor, but if someone wants to use optimistic governance from Frax, they can also go in that direction. And the reason why we need the level of governance on the on-chain investment vehicle level is because we need a governing body that is controlling the permissions given to the manager and the methods that are used to calculate the value of those positions, and also the settings of on-chain investment vehicles. Because if we don't do that, then every time we need to make a change, we need to deploy all new contracts, we need to migrate the funds. So it becomes a bit more cumbersome, and we wanted to allow a bit of flexibility. So this is the reason why we have built this. And also another reason is if you look at one of our competitors, for example, Ensign, they have a protocol level governance, and they allow their participants in governance to choose which assets are whitelisted and which assets everyone else can interact with. We believe that this is not the best approach because different investors in different vaults and on-chain investment vehicles have different risk appetites. And we don't believe that there should be one governance system controlling settings and like whitelist assets for everyone else. But we believe that each on-chain investment vehicle should decide this for themselves. And this is a part of additional reason why we have built this.
This is to my mind, this is more a blockchain native approach. I would say more decentralized, and it's more correct to my mind. Understood. Just I think I will I will stop annoying you with the hard technical questions from now, and just will jump to maybe a little bit of challenges. Maybe you can tell which challenges did you come across while developing the smart contracts for Rethink Protocol, and how did you overcome them? Maybe you have some interesting cases to share with us.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is not knowing what exactly we would need to build. And I mean, of course, you have like the idea of what you want to do, and of course, you talk to users, you get a lot of feedback. But the general process of building in Web3 is quite different than from Web2, where you want to build fast and break things. Here, you don't want to break things because you're dealing with people's money. So the challenge is that the iterative approach is certainly much slower. But I think, our CTO, Sinka, did a great job with building the MVP, and we are getting a lot of really good feedback, and we have been able to define a really good roadmap for our V2. So I think we are kind of overcoming those challenges in this way.
Yeah, that's always like that, and you are on the edge of progress, but it's the most interesting what can happen in work, to my mind. I really like it. That's why I'm personally with Web3. It's always a challenge. I understand you perfectly, but I think you also enjoy this.
Yes, I mean there are maybe a couple of other challenges, but we are waiting also for the general safe team also to possibly address them. One of them is, for example, cross-chain support, which is a bit limited for now. But we have some ideas on how we're going to tackle that in the future, and we want to tackle it in the way that we don't create any central point of failure, because also to mention that Rethink is built in a way that is basically nuke proof, as Senke would usually say. So there is no central point of failure, and it's completely immutable. So there's no possibility of denial of service or anything like that. It's built, nuke proof basically.
Yeah, I see that we will be following your updates with a great interest. So you just told very promising things. Concerning the security and reliability, so are there maybe specific measures you ensure security of your smart contracts, especially in with these governance features that can be difficult, I think.
Mhm. So I think like one of the security measures at the beginning was trying to reinvent as little new things as possible and build on top of existing battle-tested contracts and standards. So we took a lot of parts from existing protocols, and this allowed us to have less risk because those were already tested. And I guess another security measure is like always auditing and auditing from different multiple parties. So we're planning shortly a new audit, and we're also working on V2. So we're going to then also audit everything there from multiple parties basically.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, okay, but when it comes to the regulatory compliance,
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's a traditional question. I always ask in all the projects I'm talking to, because in Web3 this is a tricky thing. So there are a lot of regulatory standards. They are just evolving, and it's really difficult to be compliant. When you are having the on-chain governance, digital assets, and things like that. So maybe you can say us a few words how you can be so much successful to avoid all those terrible regulations we are now coming across.
hmm Yeah, I mean, the regulation is for sure a problem, especially if you work with institutions because they need to be compliant. And in Europe, we are kind of going in the right direction, but we're still not there. There, especially like DeFi and DAOs have still a lot of legal ambiguity. US is quite behind. This is why we are operating. We plan to operate pretty much from Switzerland because they have defined a bit clearer rules around asset management, especially on chain.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
to mitigate some of those risks, we are actually working with one of the best companies, legal consultancies in Web3 space in Switzerland. We plan to continue to invest a lot of resources and energies in order to make sure that we're not exposing our users to any legal risk by using our platform. Of course, it's complex because we have users from different jurisdictions, and
Yes.
usually, they also need to make sure that they're compliant and consult their advisors. But we're working a lot on this topic, and it has been a pain point. Yes.
Yes, understand. This is a process. I would understand you perfectly. Yeah, yes, and okay. Let's then maybe touch a little bit more your future plans for development of Rethink Protocol, because you have a little bit mentioned already that you are about to integrate some interesting updates, but maybe you will tell us a little bit more, especially how do you plan, for example, to engage the community and encourage the participation in your project for the investors. Maybe you have some interesting insights you would like to share, like maybe something cool will
Mhm.
happen in the future.
Yes, yes. So we haven't been engaging that much with community until
Mhm.
now, and we plan to definitely increase this. We wanted to first make sure that we have built something that, solves the problem for our users and pretty much build a product that people really love. And then we plan to decentralize this. So Rethink aims to be a fully decentralized protocol operated by community and built by community. So also this first operational company, pretty much us, that is currently responsible for delivering the version 1 and version 2, will also allow other third parties to continue contributing to our overarching vision of creating trustless, scalable asset management environment. And we will invite community to create proposals, to create initiatives on how can we improve all that. And we are working with some of externals already, but we are going to make this a bit more available and a bit more public as soon as we get to really strong signs of product market fit. And I think we're very close to that. So you can expect this announcements around that happening in the next couple of months, basically.
Sounds fantastic. We are really looking forward to it. We are monitoring you. Okay, concerning the security audit made by Audit One. So maybe some findings were a real surprise for you and really were very crucial in your process of development and influenced your work, your workflow, your development process. Maybe not. So just if you had something, just tell us a little bit so how our report did influence your work process.
So are you talking about like the specific findings or like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
overall?
Yeah, maybe,
Okay, I think
maybe. Yeah, just continue.
yeah, I think the interesting findings was mostly around our net asset value calculation, which is one of the key pieces that we have built ourselves and didn't really forked from open source repositories. The problem there was that there was basically some overflows happening, and we obviously solved the issue, and we also made another security measure, which is that you can simulate the net asset value calculation before you submit the method to the governance. And also everyone else voting for this method can actually see how the method will perform ahead of time. So we actually not just only solve the issue based on your suggestion, but built like additional measures on top of it. Because the net asset value calculation and methods are actually brought in by the community. So the community can suggest how certain positions are going to be valued, and we support like different sources for valuing positions. So sometimes we go directly in the contracts when it comes to composable positions, and we query the contracts directly. But for example, liquid positions, we have we can use, for example, an Oracle. If there is no Oracle, we can use an aggregator as a source. If there is no aggregator, we can use DEX pair as a source. So we have like a lot of possibilities, and we need to make sure that those possibilities are still returning correct values for the investors depositing in those on-chain investment vehicles.
Oh, I never heard such long and detailed explanation, to be honest. But thank you for yes, thank you for explaining this to us and to the community. And we really see that our audit was really helpful for you, and you really find some things you wanted to enhance, and you succeeded with it. I'm really happy to hear this. And anyway, maybe you have some feedback and suggestions to our team, to Audit One team, how we can improve maybe our auditing process or interaction process. We will be very interested to hear this, and I think our community as well. Maybe you can share some thoughts.
Yeah, I think first I need to say that it was really well done. So it was not our first audit. I mean, first audit for Rethink, but Sink and myself have been involved in a couple of other audits before that, and we have to say that the experience was very good. It was very smooth. It was also very fast. Usually we're used to long waiting times, and it was really good. Price, performance, speed, execution, communication was good as well. So everything went as expected. There were a couple of issues found that were definitely critical, and we're happy that we did it, and I certainly plan to do it again. So we don't have any negative feedback, unfortunately.
I'm very thankful for your positive review. We are trying to enhance, so we are always working on providing the best services we can and do our best. And we really value such feedback as you have recently given to us. And we hope that for future we will cooperate and maybe build something interesting. And anyway, we'll be I think staying in touch, and you are always welcome to order your next audit from Audit One. Yes, I see that we are having our listeners, but I don't see any maybe questions that you would like to ask, guys. I think here is it's possible to raise a hand or to write something. So maybe we will have some questions from community. Let us wait several minutes.
All right. Yeah, maybe while we are waiting, maybe I can
Yeah,
do a shameless plug.
of
So
course, of course. Go on.
we are looking for several asset managers and strategists, DeFi strategists, because we have a lot of interest from investors to deploy the capital, and we're looking for really high quality asset managers. Currently, we're already working with people who have institutional track records, but we're also open to work with other types of people. And any introductions or recommendations, we would be very happy about. So just putting that out there.
Yeah, okay, guys, you have heard. So this company, this very serious company, is looking for very serious people. So don't miss your chance. Of course. Okay. I think, Rob, we don't have any questions from the community. But anyway, we are having the recording. We are having our discords of Audit One and Rethink.Finance, and you guys are welcome to ask your questions anytime to Rock with their social networks and messengers. And I think we should then finish at the moment. So maybe you have some more announcements, Rock. So we will we'll listen.
No, not for now. Thank you so much for this. Stay tuned. We
Yes,
are
thank
going
you.
to start communicating publicly about what we have built. But if you're curious before that, our docs are already available, so you can dive deeper. If you have questions, you can join our Discord, and follow us on Twitter for the updates.
It's fantastic. Thank you, Rock, and have a nice day. And I wish you all the best in your development.
Thank you. Likewise. Have a good one.
Bye bye.